Hello and welcome to the Myofunctional Therapy Breathe for Health webinar. I'm so excited to share with you everything that I know about myofunctional therapy and how it can help you. And I'm ready. Let's just jump in. In the next 45 minutes, you're going to discover how myofunctional therapy can be the answer to your health problems in mere 10 minutes a day without spending a fortune. That's very important. Keep that in mind because exactly what you'll learn is the connection between breathing, chewing, and swallowing to growth, facial development, and overall health. It's critical to understand that because that's the only way that you'll understand why this one therapy you've never heard of can change your child's health naturally. So just going to put out a full disclaimer, just to keep everything on the up and up. You guys can read through this while I just kind of sum it up. But essentially, I am not your physician. While I am a healthcare professional and while I do actively treat for myofunctional therapy and I see clients daily, I have not met you yet. We have not had the chance to get to know each other. We will during the course of this webinar and hopefully one-on-one later. However, since we haven't met, I cannot diagnose you, I cannot give you any promises, and I cannot claim that I am going to treat anything based on this webinar. So I want you to have a full understanding that this webinar is really just informational. Everything that I'm going to show you is backed by research and lots of years of myofunctional therapy. All right, moving on. This is for you. This webinar is for you if you or your child are struggling with frequent congestion, ear and or throat infections, if you're exhausted from poor sleep, snoring, restless sleep, bedwetting, or sleepwalking, if you're frustrated by not getting to the root of your health issues, if you're tired of feeling like traditional healthcare is not addressing your concerns, or if you want an alternative health solution that'll give you real long-term results, because that's what we want. We don't want something for now. We want something that's going to help us in the long run. My promise to you is that at the conclusion of this webinar, you will know the simple steps you can take to help you overcome childhood asthma, routine illness, and chronic congestion naturally through proper breathing in 10 minutes a day without financial burden or stress. And I'll have a special gift for you at the end, so stick around. So, jumping right in, do any of these sound like you or your child? Have you guys been in a revolving door at the doctor or pediatrician for sicknesses that frequently return? Are you exhausted from restless nights of sleep, which leave you tired in the morning after you wake up? Have you been frustrated by a spouse or a child that bedwets? And this is only a child beyond the age of 5, because under the age of 5, we understand that they haven't really gotten their whole nocturnal system down. The bladder control's not always there. It's okay. Beyond the age of 5, bedwetting is a concern for sleep. Snoring, grinding, sleepwalking, also other sleep issues, sometimes sleep talking as well. Have you been halted by personal anxiety or frequently calming down an anxious child? Are you tired of being told you should medicate or sick of medicating a child with ADHD? My hands up for that big time. I've definitely been there, and a few more of the other ones up top. We'll get to that later. Continuing on, have you had teeth that had braces in the past, but then it shifted afterwards? Your teeth moved back and now they're out of alignment and you need braces again? Or do you currently have a child in braces? Are you embarrassed by a tongue that protrudes when you speak, or have a child that's concerned about that? Have you been unable to tolerate touch in your mouth, like a difficulty with brushing teeth or a sensitivity to certain textures of food? That's a very common one amongst some children. Have you been plagued by enlarged tonsils or adenoids that make breathing noisy or labored? Have to stop here because it's a very common misconception that it's okay to hear breathing, that breathing is something that can be heard or not heard. It's actually not healthy to have breathing that is audible. Breathing is meant to be silent. Air is supposed to pass through, and we're not supposed to hear any of that in the airway. When we do hear the air passing through our airway, it's essentially a sign that there is resistance along the way. And so that's a big problem. So if you have noisy or labored breathing, that's an issue. Some of these are asthma-like symptoms that do not get officially diagnosed as asthma, but they are very similar. Wheezing sometimes is in there. Do you have a history of ear tubes that were placed in, or if you're in need of ear tubes being placed to drain the canals? Are you suffering from frequent headaches that seem to be sudden or maybe positional? Are you disturbed by your temporomandibular joint or your jaw joint? You have pain there. Are you unable to chew hard or crunchy foods? Are you struggling during eating due to a strong gag reflex? If one, two, three, any of them reach out to you, I know you've got to feel like there's an invisible barrier in your life. There is something that's blockading you and stopping you from getting to ultimate health. And I know there's nothing more frustrating than knowing that there's something in your way, but you can't get to it. Reality is, the older you get, the more problems that it will compound. And the more doctors and specialists you see, the more confused you'll get. The more stuff you try, the more complex that makes things. You're just losing your time, your money, and most importantly, your health instead of increasing your wellness and that of your family. It's very overwhelming, especially when you discover that these are only the symptoms. Like, your problem, or what you think is your problem, is not the real problem. The real problem is that we're not breathing right. You have to breathe right, not to take another medicine, not to see another specialist, not to spend more time and money on traditional medicines, band-aid solutions to your problems, and certainly not to waste any more days on being sick or taking care of sick children. Once you breathe right, you'll find that you're able to sleep better, eat better, think better, and most importantly, feel better. So, how do we get to the point where we're turning your health around? Well, first we have to get to the root, what got us here. So how did you get here? Anatomy, anatomy, anatomy. I can't say it enough. If you've ever taken an anatomy or physiology course, you learn a whole lot, that the body has a lot of systems that work on even a cellular level. It's all very intricate, but the most important thing is that it's all connected. So let's start to how certain systems are connected within our body when it comes to mouth breathing. Mouth breathing is an improper form of breathing. And I think many people know that. That's a very common thing that's out there, right? That's not a news flash. Our nose is meant for breathing. Our nose is what enables us to filter the air that comes into our body, and it moisturizes it. It warms it, it moisturizes it. We get the best quality of oxygen in through our nose. If you're breathing through your mouth, you're still getting in oxygen, right? But how are you filtering it? We know our saliva is capable of helping us to fight off bacteria, right? But if your mouth is open all day long, or open for even these bursts of time, maybe at night you're sleeping and your mouth is open, it dries out the saliva. So what's our next line of defense? Well, it's going to be our tonsils. Our tonsils are there. They'll be catching things. And suddenly, once they feel that they have to fight off all this bacteria, all these germs that are coming into the mouth, well, then they're swollen, they're inflamed. And what is that leading us to? Sore throats, those strep infections, those chronic ones that just keep returning. A lot of times it has to do with these tonsils that are just being attacked in droves by all these microbes that are not being filtered because it's not going through the nose, which is properly supposed to filter it. So what else can mouth breathing cause? Well, let's say you're mouth breathing and your nose is starting to stuff up and you're like, what's going on with my nose? Well, your nose is meant to breathe, and if you're not breathing, well, what's the nose going to do? It's just kind of hanging there. All these germs are coming into the mouth and the body, and our ear, nose, and throat are all connected. So our sinuses become very infected, on top of the fact that we already have the throat infections. So what does that lead us to now? All this sinus pressure and our tension headaches and our congestion and all these allergy-like symptoms. might be connecting a few dots here for some people. All these allergy-like symptoms, or these frequent colds or frequent congestions or these sore throats that keep returning, a lot of this stuff just leads you to feeling very, very sick. But mouth breathing is not the only culprit here, because it is possible for you to be breathing through your nose and still not doing it right. Poor tongue posture is a big deal. Your tongue is meant to lie up against the roof of the mouth, extending from just behind the two front teeth all the way back into the soft palate, and it helps you to breathe, it helps you for development, it helps you for sensory perception. When that tongue is connecting up to the roof of the mouth, you get better perception, because all those proprioceptors you're reaching on the roof of the mouth, you're getting your senses integrated. When you don't have that sensory perception, you're more prone to gagging, because your body's not quite sure what's going on. Your tonsils are enlarged, and you feel like anything that goes in there, you're going to gag. Gagging starts to happen. Your tongue is lying low and not up, out of the way of the airway. So when the tongue is lying low instead of lying up and out of the way of the airway, well, then we have our lower jaw trying to shift that tongue forward. And when it's shifting it forward, if you think about it, just try to shift your lower jaw forward right now. You shift it forward, and suddenly now you realize, oh no, grinding. But you take good breath through your nose as you're shifting that jaw forward, and you realize you have so much more airway, right? Turns out sometimes that grinding has absolutely nothing to do with stress, because those two things don't even really make sense, especially when you're sleeping. What kind of stress are you in when your body's in a state of relaxation? Grinding is very much associated to low tongue posture. When your tongue's lying low and you're thrusting it forward, a lot of that time you're thrusting forward and you're not developing a proper swallow. So when you swallow, your tongue is still going to be lying low and thrusting forward instead of going up and connecting with the whole roof of the mouth for a proper swallow. When it connects with the roof of the mouth, you'll be interested to know that you actually help to clear your ears. You pop your ears when you do that. So our ears are constantly being able to be drained without ear tubes. It's very interesting how nature has all these things planned for us, but this low tongue posture is actually stopping us. It's getting in the way, and that's where our frequent ear infections come from. Our tongue posture is critical to overall development of the airway. I can't say that enough. The roof of your mouth is the floor of your nose. And when your tongue's not up there being the blueprint for how that wonderful, big, broad maxilla or upper arch should be forming, then you get a short, narrow, high palate with crowded teeth, and you get this jaw that gets pulled back, your TMJ that gets compressed because it's not being fully utilized the way it should be. Every time your mandible is going forward or moving to help you breathe, you're compressing that TMJ joint. You're getting TMJ pain, a narrow airway, you're getting your teeth all nice and crowded, and then you'll find that some kids, or even some adults that seem like they can't break that thumb habit, they need something up against the roof of the palate. So what goes up there? A thumb, or they have something that they will suck on, such as a bottle or a pacifier. There are some adults out there who still use bottles, because the way how you would have to suck on a bottle, that tongue is going to come up, compress against the bottle, and have that nipple right up against your palate, exactly in the same way that a thumb might lay. So these things all wind up leading us to braces, development, illness, sickness, improper facial structuring, all of this stuff. Tongue posture, mouth breathing. Two key components of what myofunctional therapy is able to do for you. because after myofunctional therapy, you'll find that you'll have less congestion and decreased asthma symptoms or asthma-like symptoms. You'll breathe predominantly through your nose as you're supposed to. You'll get better sleep and you'll wake up feeling more rested. You'll enjoy meals without messy, loud, and rapid eating. You'll have the health you want and the freedom to build a lifestyle that you know is possible. Because myofunctional therapy is simple, scientific, and effective. It's like having a personal trainer for all those muscles below your eyes but above your shoulders. It involves exercises and activities that help to facilitate proper breathing, chewing, and swallowing. It's only a 3-step simple process that'll help you achieve better health in just 10 minutes a day. I promise, no more than 10 minutes a day, most days. We'll get back to that. So let's start out with who I am, because I've been talking for this whole time and you have no clue who I am. Well, I'll tell you first and foremost, big number one for me always comes that I'm a Jersey girl. My parents are from the West Indies. My dad was from Barbados. My mom is from St. Vincent. I'm first generation born here and born and raised in New Jersey. I love this state. I can't imagine living anywhere else. I really hope I never have to live anywhere else, but I do have to say that New Jersey and its politics, it's running me out. It's trying to push me out, but I'm holding on as much as I can. I am a dental hygienist here in New Jersey. I'm also a myofunctional therapist, and I do those two things predominantly. And I am certified a Reiki master. I do a little bit of Reiki into my myofunctional therapy as well. But the thing I am most proud of is of being a wife and a mother of 4. If you look at my picture there, I have my children there. My husband's not in this picture, but he's an amazing, amazing guy. My kids, as adorable as they are, as a parent, you have these things that you normally don't share with other people, or if you do, they kind of dismiss it, or they look at you like you're doing something wrong. My kids struggled with a lot of different things. My son had issues with ADHD. One of my daughters had a lot of sleep issues, night terrors. She was sleepwalking. She was bedwetting until she was 10. She would suck her thumb all the time. I mean, she had all the issues that I can think of, the asthma-like symptoms. We had the inhaler for her. She had a lot going on for her. My other 2 girls, we have tongue tie. We have a lot of slow, monotonous, tedious eating. It was ear and throat infections a lot of times. We were that revolving door. Like, that revolving door really felt like my life when I was creating this webinar. That revolving door, that's it. We were in the pediatrician, one after the other, antibiotic, antibiotic, antibiotic. It became this nightmare of a cycle, and I can't tell you enough how myofunctional therapy has really changed our lives entirely. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I went to the pediatrician because they were sick. So I am so excited to tell you that I discovered myofunctional therapy as someone who kind of happened upon it, as I'm sure many of you have just now. I was that frustrated parent that just happened to go to a new pediatric dentist that I was working for at the time that introduced me to airway focused dentistry. I mean, I went a good more than 10 years with my children as a parent, as a dental professional, and had no idea about myofunctional therapy or airway dentistry. So at that point, I didn't have much of a clue about it, and I definitely didn't have money. I mean, hello, Jersey girl, we have no money. We are taxed out. So it's been a struggle for us initially trying to figure out how to do it and how to do it in a way that would be effective and affordable. And so that is part of what I'm going to share with you, because I'm hoping to bring all the joy and all the new life that's in my home to your homes. So first things first, let's forget the shortcuts right off the bat. I know what you're thinking. I just told you about this wonderful new thing and how it's done such wonderful things for me, and you're going to try to shortcut it. I know you're going to get there. Myth number 1 is you're like, oh, whatever. she, did this therapy and her kids feel great, but my kids still grow out of it. Well, that's a myth. Children do grow out of some health problems, sure. Their tonsils naturally shrink as they become older, but a lot of these health things, especially their narrow airways and the grinding and the sleep problems, those things only progress, and sometimes the health deteriorates in those aspects. I mean, I wouldn't take that risk with my child, and I wouldn't take that risk with anybody else's child. So I'm going to drop that myth right here on the ground, getting rid of that. Children do not grow out of health problems, they compound them. Myth number 2 is that you can YouTube the exercises. There's myofunctional therapy on YouTube. Google it right now. You'll get exercises and videos. But what order do those exercises go in? How does that apply to you and where you have specific weaknesses or where your child has specific weaknesses? How do you get that to work for you and make it work long term? Because the exercises alone are not enough, and especially when they're done out of order and not catered to you. Myth number 3 is that just being mentally aware now that you've learned from this webinar that your tongue is supposed to be up high against your palate, just being mentally aware of that just means that, okay, now that's just what I'll do. That's all I have to do is just keep my tongue up. I like to use the reference that just because we all know that we should eat fruits, vegetables, eliminate sugar, and, cut back on our carbohydrates, does not mean that that's how everybody eats, because we know that that's the proper way to eat and that's the best or the ideal way to eat if we want to, maintain a healthy weight and live a healthy lifestyle. Doesn't mean that that's what happens. So just being aware of something does not mean that now you're going to be able to mentally concentrate and focus to keep your tongue up high 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even while you're sleeping. I mean, it's really something that just knowing about it isn't enough. Now that we got that out of the way, time to get to the good stuff. Here's the 3 steps that we're going to take in order to get you to better breathing now. Strengthening. Similar to joining a gym, the first step is to engage and strengthen the orofacial muscles. Why? Weak muscles cannot perform proper physiological function. You think about it, you try to do a bicep curl, and if your muscles are weak, you're not going to be able to curl that weight, right? So you've got to strengthen it, similar to joining a gym. The problem is that there's hundreds of online resources, and you can't try them all. There's so many products out there. There's so many different breathing techniques. There's so many different things. How are you going to get to the one that's going to help you strengthen and get your orofacial muscles proper? You can't. It's impossible to try every product out there. I saw a new one the other day, the Jawzerciser. I mean, the thing looks ridiculous and it looks incredibly painful and it looks like it'll give you more TMJ pain, but it promises to strengthen your jaw. It's very interesting. So what most people do wrong is that they YouTube or Google the exercises. We've already gone through that. I mean, you can strengthen as much as you want, but it's not going to be catered to you. They skip strengthening entirely and try to just keep their tongue up because that intellectual awareness, they think they've got it all, or they avoid getting evaluated. The number one thing is that you have to be actively seeing some sort of professional. And ideally, for most people, it would be the dental professional. While speech pathologists do also do myofunctional therapy and they do screenings and evaluations, more people are more likely to go to the dentist than go to a speech therapist. And so if you're avoiding the dentist because of dental anxiety, you're probably not getting evaluated. So that part is being missed as well. I want to stop right here and give you a case study of wonderful Rachel. Rachel is this beautiful 7-year-old girl, really, really sweet girl. She has an Alpha appliance, and I know if you don't know and you're not familiar with the Alpha appliance, that looks really weird, right? It's not like Alpha the television show. It's an appliance, an alternative light force wire, and it's just kind of like a very simple homeopathic palate expander. It's beautiful on young children and it really helps them get a lot of growth. But Rachel was struggling with hers and not getting optimal growth. She had a lot of mouth breathing and she was chronically congested. And her mom, who, bless her soul, she was a wonderful woman who had 5 children. And I applaud everybody who's got anything more than the 4 that I have. She Googled all the exercises and she did them with her kids, all 5 of the kids, every single day. She created charts, had all these exercises that she Googled, and had them do it every day for 6 months. Okay. And it was a lot to take in that she had done all this. And when we got to the evaluation and to start myofunctional therapy, to realize that she didn't have any progress to show for all this hard work over 6 months. In 3 weeks that we worked together, our first 3 weeks of myofunctional therapy, Rachel had much less congestion and she was finally sleeping through the night, which was a big win for mom. Her growth and her expansion in the ALF improved much faster and at a better rate after the first 2 months of therapy. I think we did just like a 3-month program. We did just 12 weeks, and it was after the first 2 months that we got to see these measurable results that it was actually helping her, which was wonderful because at that point she had been wearing her ALF for just about a year. So this case study with Miss Rachel and her beautiful family, I like to share, especially at this point in time with strengthening, because these exercises that you're finding on YouTube, they're wonderful, a wonderful, wonderful resource, but there's so much more that we can do as far as educating the public with exercises. And we'll get more into that later. Our second step now, because I promised you 3, we're on number 2. Hang in there. I know it's getting a bit lengthy, but I know you're in there. Second step, coordinating. Strengthening muscles can only help you so much as you have strong muscles, but you're not sure what to do with them. I mean, you have to establish some proper functional movement if you're going to see any progress. So just like Rachel's story, we can do exercises every day for 6 months, and you can keep going and you can keep doing as many of them as you want. But where is it leading you to, and how do you get that to translate into proper movement? I can do as many bicep curls as I want at the gym, but how do I translate that into picking up my grocery bag at the store? Important that it all translates, because dysfunction is at the root of the pain and poor development that we see as symptoms. So all of our symptoms are really coming from a root cause. So we have to address that first. So we got our strengthening down, and now we're going to work on coordination. And the problem sometimes that happens is that the coordination is a task that's best left to the healthcare professionals. But in order to figure out proper oral motor coordination skills, you could easily have to see a physician first for a referral, or a dentist for a diagnosis or a screening, or an occupational therapist to actually treat oral motor, or speech therapist or physical therapist to get involved and give you a comprehensive treatment plan. And that is money, 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 money. I mean, healthcare is not cheap, and to see all those specialists just to get to the root cause is very expensive. So what most people do wrong at that point, you see those dollar signs, you put that hand up and you're like, no, 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 stay right there. I know what my problem is, and I'm going to Google it, and I'm going to figure out how we're going to solve it, and we're going to coordinate ourselves. They self-diagnose, or they treat it with some sort of palliative care or some just bandage care. So you figure out that you have a problem swallowing, and maybe you just start using straws instead of just drinking straight from the cup. You're trying to, band-aid this problem until, hopefully it goes away. And then you can just ignore it, which is the third thing most people do wrong. I'll give you Daniel's story now as my next case study. Daniel is a 10-year-old boy. He had a lot of pain when he came to me. He came to me and he was pretty much holding his jaw. That was his permanent stance. He had to have that hand support of that jaw. He had pain with nightly grinding. He was wearing down mouth guards like it was nobody's business. I'm pretty sure the NFL has strong mouth guards, but he would have chewed right through one. Daniel had issues that his parents were tired of struggling with, and they considered oral maxillofacial surgery with a local surgeon to try to correct it and reposition the jaw, and Botox injections to try to, hopefully get that jaw to stabilize, those muscles, get those masseter muscles to stabilize. I'm so happy that they waited and that they tried to find something a little more holistic before they went that route, because we got really great results with Daniel. We did a 10-week program with him and his grinding reduced significantly. In fact, his mom called me not too long ago to do like a little cheer, a little dance. We met over Skype. It was great. A wonderful dance because he's no longer wearing a night guard to bed, and nothing makes her happier than to know that she was able to reach that point without having to put her son under the knife. All right, step number 3, final step, okay? We're integrating. So now that we've strengthened all the muscles, now that we've coordinated them to figure out what proper movement is, now we've got to bring all that into our daily lives to ensure that we have long-term stability and results. And why is that important? Because dysfunction will rear its ugly head again when function stops. When you stop doing proper function, your muscles are going to compensate and you're going to get some dysfunctional movement. So we have to make sure that all the neuromuscular patterning is established for permanent function in daily life. The problem is that integration is time consuming and it requires a commitment that is very difficult to maintain if you're not holding or having someone hold you accountable. So what most people do wrong is by step 3, they've already been through strengthening and coordinating. They feel like, all right, I don't have my symptoms anymore. I'm done. I can stop. So you don't want to stop at relief. You want to stop at results, permanent results. So you got to get your R's together. Don't stop at relief. Don't avoid accountability. Accountability avoidance is big. There are a lot of people who would take a great break at this point. They felt relief. We're taking a break and we're not going to check in about that break either. That accountability is critical to establishing daily patterning. And you can't just assume that it comes naturally because you did step 1 and step 2. It doesn't just come naturally. It's something you've got to actively work on. Jen, beautiful, gorgeous 17-year-old girl. She could have been like a model or like in a beauty pageant or something. Gorgeous, gorgeous girl. And it's very sad to see that she was not her full self. She couldn't come out of her shell. She had this problem with eating and she was, very self-conscious about it. She had a lot of messy and loud chewing and she would eat or not eat. She would eat by herself or not eat when she was at school. And it was very sad to hear that story from her mom initially, but after working together with her, we did a 12-week program as well. We developed proper eating habits and function. She was significantly less anxious, and that was thrilling. And even more so than the decrease in her anxiety was that Jen has recently started dating. She sent me a picture, and I really wish I could share it, but for her privacy, I'm not going to. She sent me a picture of her just out. And I was so excited, so very excited to see that she is able to go out and to really just start living and embracing life, because she was able to integrate all those movements that we had finally gotten to after coordination into her daily life. So now she feels comfortable. We can go out into a restaurant, go out into public, and definitely feel confident again, knowing that we've got not just relief, but permanent results. So, just to recap, there's 3 steps to health. It's strengthening, coordination, and integration into daily life. But the reality is that you have to be able to do all of this in less than 1 hour a day, and you need to be able to reach your health goals. Now, I know what you're thinking, 1 hour a day, didn't I say 10 minutes at the beginning? Yeah. Well, first you have to learn all the exercises, and then all the days after for that week you can practice. Those practicing days are limited to 2 5-minute sessions, and so that's your 10 minutes. 10 minutes 6 days a week, and about 40 minutes the first day. So we're going to stick under an hour for the first day and 10 minutes every other day. All right. So most of your days are going to be under 10 minutes a day, but you already have a busy schedule, which is why you're looking at that hour like, oh, I just don't have it, because you just can't add more hours to your day. So the reality is that you don't have as much time. You need to be able to do this as efficiently as possible. So we're going to make sure that happens. Myofunctional therapy instructions are only once a week. And like I said, we're going to limit that to 45 minutes. Your exercises are limited to just 10 minutes daily, 2 5-minute sessions like I promised. We have various modalities to treatment, okay? You don't have to just Google exercises. We have ebooks. We have a journal that you can do and order online. We have one-to-one work. We have group coaching. There's so many modalities that we do at the MyoSwap, because I remember being that parent that's looking online for a myofunctional therapist or trying to look into it. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't have thousands of dollars to invest in this. I need something that can provide me with the help I need at a cost I can afford. And the important thing is that while we have all these modalities, I also offer that accountability, encouragement, and coaching the whole way. So whether you get an ebook, a journal, you do personal coaching, you do group coaching, no matter what you do, I will be there for you. I stand by my treatments, okay? You have a choice at this point in time, and you know that, right? You have a choice. To reach your goals, you can either A, figure it out yourself and waste a fortune in time and money with no guaranteed results. It took me a long time to get to where we are now, and my myofunctional therapy is dynamic in that, like I said before, I'm a Reiki master. I do also do Lois Laney's restorative breathing method. I do some breath mastery work, Dan Brûlé's. I do a little bit of cranial sacral. We do some releases and so forth. I've got a very dynamic program that's all encompassing to get you the result that you want, and to get all that you would get out of my myofunctional therapy program. To try to figure that all out on your own, you're going to be spending a lot of time doing a lot of work to get to that point. So that leaves us with option B. You can get help from someone who's been through it and can guide you through on a fast track. Like I said, most of my clients are 12 weeks. Nature is going to always win. So with myofunctional therapy, you've realized that a lot of improper breathing is related to poor health. So why not let nature be your ally instead of your enemy? Why not get to the point where we're breathing properly? That way you can reach your goals and live the life that you're supposed to, because the cost to not fix it, I think, far outweighs the cost of fixing it. There's the financial cost that you'll spend in health and providers and all those things that come along with this healthcare system, insurance and copays and deductibles, the emotional cost of the wear and tear that takes on you, going back and forth to the doctors or watching your child have these struggles sleeping, watching your child having to go through, braces or palate expanders and so forth, the relational cost that what is this doing to your relationship with your employer? How often are you calling out of work because you have to take care of a sick child? How many times have you had to leave work early because of that? The lifestyle cost, because everybody wants to be able to wake up in the morning and know exactly what it is you're going to do that day. Even on a day that you want to have that's spontaneous, you don't want to wake up sick on that day, okay? Spontaneous day is no fun when you're sick or when your child is sick. And if you have a planned day with a planned event, you don't want to cancel your events. What is this doing to your lifestyle? And health, I think, stands for itself. The cost of not fixing your health is way too great at this point in time. So here's how I can help you. That way we can get you the best results and the least amount of cost to you. I've set aside some time to consult with you personally and discuss how to apply myofunctional therapy directly for your health concerns as soon as today. Yes, today. The cost for that is nothing, absolutely nothing. It's free, totally free. I need to be able to talk to you, to get to know you and know your struggles and to figure out what is best for you. So I have to make sure that the information I'm giving you is going to be correct. Because if you want me to help you, and if I think that, myofunctional therapy is a good fit for you and the struggles that you have with your situation and your children, I might invite you to become a client and we can work together on achieving your goals. But if not, you'll still get a path that can provide you to wellness, but maybe it doesn't involve one-on-one guidance or it doesn't involve any training at all. Perhaps myofunctional therapy just isn't for you. Perhaps you have more major concerns than myofunctional therapy can address, but we won't know until we're able to connect. So what I want you to do now at this point is either write down or go to the myospot.com/apply and make sure you get in there, okay? I have my calls scheduled in for some times blocked out, and once they're gone, they're gone. So please make sure that you get your call in with me because I look forward to hearing from you. But wait. I did not forget. I promised you a free gift, and here it is. Your free gift is my 3 top tips to better breathing now. That's right, today. Active tips. 3 full pages of tips of things that you can do that will help you breathe better now. This guide is available to you absolutely free. All you need to do is type in your browser bit.ly/breathe tips, okay? And you'll be able to download that wonderful PDF. You can print it out. You can take the tips. You can change your sleep and your patterns as soon as today. I can't wait to hopefully speak to you soon. Again, get your free gift and make sure you get to the myospot.com/apply so that we can meet soon. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for all your time and attention. Bye.